Say, man, for those select few that are already initiated, you should already know what's coming next. And for those of you that aren't, just chill. See, what you got to understand is that I'm trying to teach everybody that everything is vibration. So before we do anything else, we gonna catch the right one. So just vibe. It wasn't no way I was gonna let us start the week off with low energy. So, either you can vibe with me, or we can get into some real gangster shit. And I'm down for both. Hell, I like it like that. Whatever you came for, you fucking with the right one. So, it's about that time for you to just open up your ear and let me crawl into your mind. One time. I know a lot of y'all be sitting there at home, at work, wherever you are watching this, with your friend, whatever. And you like, man, he be feeling himself. You damn right. As I should. As you should. Both feel me and feel yourself. See, all I'm here to do is to show you how to do your best shit. I'm gonna give you the tools. All you gotta do is dig. Well equipped. See, right now, you know, Mercury just went into Taurus today. We got Venus in Taurus already. Uranus been in Taurus. You know, we got the sun sitting at about 28 or 29 degrees of Aries, finna make that move. We got the moon in Cancer. How you feeling? I feel exquisite. It's been a couple of days, so I was just, wondering if y'all had forgot I was just flying. Nah, y'all ain't forgot. How could you? You didn't. That last motherfucker you had reading your chart, I'm flyer than him. And humility ain't never been my strong suit. I got Mercury and Venus in Leo, baby. In the 10th house. You understand me? Get a shovel, man. What it was, y'all. Y'all should already know who it is. But, if not, can you read that? That's me. And y'all tuned in with Priceless Knowledge Yourself. And this right here, man, this ain't shit but some cosmic insight. And, the shit we finna talk about is a trip a little bit. Because all kinds of shit could go down. Sometimes you gotta wonder, like, is it me or is it you? Okay. But either way, this right here, this a little something about those people that have Uranus in the 7th house of their natal chart. Yeah, that. And so, before we actually get into that, y'all should already know my style. What I'm gonna do first is I'm gonna bring y'all a little information on what Uranus actually is in astrology and some of the energy that goes along with it and how it might affect you. Then after that, I'm gonna give y'all information on what the 7th house of the astrological chart is actually all about. Then after that, We're going to bring it to a culmination, okay? And so, without wasting any more time, let's go ahead and get started, man. So, as I think I told y'all before, for me, Uranus is kind of like the cosmic alarm clock and shit. And that's because big shocks and surprises are usually in store wherever it shows up in a chart, man. It's the planet of triggering events and breakthroughs that you don't expect. And, as a higher octave of Mercury, it really relates to the genius streak in each one of us, whether we know it or not. And for a lot of us astrologers, Uranus is known as the awakener because of the way that its aspects and its transits kind of bring sudden changes and shocks and, upheavals. And along with Saturn and revolutions, it's the planet of revolutionary enlightenment is what I like to call it too also, man. And along with Saturn, it co-rules the 11th house in the sign of Aquarius. And it can really bring, brilliant innovation in a lot of cases, and also sudden upheaval, which is sometimes a necessary break from the norm, whether you care to admit that or not. And when we're talking about the sign placement of Uranus, what I want everybody to understand is it stays in a sign for about 7 years. So it's considered generational in that aspect, meaning that it'll have a kind of a similar impression in a lot of the folks that were born in that time frame, man. So therefore, it's the house placement. That's where it gets personal. And that's what we're going to talk about, man. And that shows where your brilliance is, man. It shows what area of life is, most prone to sudden flashes of genius and crazy upheavals. And also where you're just different. Yeah. And the aspects, they kind of show where shit gets interested and where you might be in for some cosmic surprises. For instance, you're stuck in a job that you fucking hate yourself and it's not on your spiritual path. And, that's when, Uranus is going to come through and get you fired from that bitch, or, you know what I'm saying? Or tank the company or burn that motherfucker down. All kinds of shit could happen with Uranus. And so, when we're dealing with that, man, something's in my eye. Sorry, yeah. And so when we're dealing with that, man, like that's all kinds of stuff. And what I also want you to know is that at around age 40, the Uranus will oppose your natal Uranus. And that's coinciding with that, dreaded midlife crisis that a lot of people talk about. But this is really when people break free from the shackles that were keeping them from fulfilling their true destiny, man. So with Uranus, my motto is always, stay woke or get woke the fuck up. And that's kind of what it is. And so when we're talking about the 7th house, the 7th house is commonly referred to as the house of partnerships. Because with this placement, we see a shift away from self and toward another. And by cooperating with and relating to another, we kind of unite for the purpose of achieving something that's, pretty much better than ourselves. And that's kind of what happens here, because the 7th, it shows us what partnerships and how they can take on many forms that include things like marriages, business partnerships, legal contracts, negotiation, best friendships, and all that shit. And also just, sometimes just verbal agreements. And also how shit will go to a certain extent with those agreements and those partnerships, man. It's here that we also question things like, why do we choose particular relationships? You know what I'm saying? Is it for love, or is it for money, or, other practical reasons, or even, social considerations, man. It could be anything. There are many reasons for uniting with another person, man. And it's usually just to find balance or to fill a void within ourselves, man. But either way, the 7th wants us to know the quality of our partnerships and how they can greatly enhance our experience on this plane of existence, man. And, even that, when we look at the tensions within a relationship, and that can really serve to teach us a lot of major lessons too, man. And any planets placed here in the 7th, they can really speak to the energy that we have to work with in that area of life, whether that be positive, whether that be negative. And anything can be negative and positive. Whether somebody tells you, oh, looks like trouble, that could be something that could work to your advantage, man. Like I always tell y'all, man, what y'all do with it is what you do with it, man. And the main thing I want y'all to know is that, the energies that are in the 7th of these planets, they're usually projected on to somebody else or to your partner, man, in that situation. The seventh qualities, they're not readily identifiable within the person, the individual, the native with this placement. So they usually project it onto other people and even seek out partnerships with people that have those type of qualities, man. And so it's also one of the angular houses of the first, the seventh, the fourth, and the 10th. And, the first is the house of self, and the seventh is the house of others, like we said earlier, where you meet others in the world. And so when we're talking about having Uranus in the 7th house, man, let me light my shit. Let me tell you, man, the first thing to know is that, this one is a motherfucker, because you got to look at it like this, man. The 7th house is all about balance, okay? And, harmony and committed relationships. And Uranus, on the other hand, Uranus is erratic and independent and doesn't like, compromises at all. So, like, wise people with this placement, they place their freedom very high above all else, man, even in their relationships, and they're able to be wise about it. But lower people, like, they're sometimes going to have a lot of trouble and might even avoid relationships altogether, man. You know what I'm saying? These people, like I said, man, whether it be a male or female, they place their freedom extremely high on their totem pole of value. So, getting them into a committed relationship is really going to be a whole battle into itself, man. To be honest. And then if you can manage that shit, man, if you can get that pig to fly there, they're going to need a lot of space in the relationship. So that can be rough too, especially when you're dealing with somebody that might have a lot of water or earth in their chart that, need that, connection. And, 7th house Uranus people, they often also struggle with establishing partnerships because, there's these people that, seem to fucking excel at every other area of life. These are people that have their business together. They got their own shit and they got everything right. You know what I'm saying? Except, relationships are just extremely challenging to them, man. And it ain't the average shit that just goes wrong when you fucking with this shit either. We talking about Uranus here, okay, man? So all kinds of shit could be going haywire within these partnerships and these relationships, man. Shit where motherfuckers just can't help but sit back and gasp like, man, I cannot believe that shit just happened to me. Like, what the fuck? Like, and I know a lot of us in life have had those experiences, but like this shit with them and their relationships is like, whoa, like, man. And, there's a lesson to be learned in it, of course, man. There's always a lesson to be learned in it, man. And I definitely say that, their best relationships, they're going to come a little bit later on in life. You know what I'm saying? After they've settled down a little bit, man. And, it's a little more on the difficult side to integrate this one, y'all. But, good thing is that once they do, they usually, find a relationship that fits them specifically perfectly. And either way, they're probably going to experience a lot of fucking ups and downs and sudden changes in their love life with this one. And, you know what I'm saying? And of course, I could really say that, they can expect to meet their partner when they expect at least with this shit. Like, that's just kind of what it is, man. And on the same spectrum, but at the other end, what I'm saying, they have these relationships that can end suddenly sometimes without any clarification whatsoever of what the fuck just happened. These whirlwind romances, and hey, if you with it, you with it, man. So if this is your placement, like, that's just your bag, you're gonna have to deal with, whether you're with it or not, But the thing is, you don't have to feed into any of it. But we'll talk about that in a minute. Okay? And so, let me also say that, having Uranus here really isn't going to affect their love life either. Isn't just going to affect their love life either, man. It can make their dealings with their close friends, like I said earlier, their business partners, and just about anybody else on a one-on-one basis. Very kind of unpredictable, man, and sometimes contentious. And, the highest vibration of this is going to be on maintaining their unique, individuality while also sharing their creativities with others and, also helping them transcend the norm with their own original ideas. But, on the other hand, I can also say that, the lower manifestation, it can make you awkward and seem like a motherfucking freak in the eyes of others, man. And 7th house Uranus, it also kind of indicates that these people seek the company of motherfuckers who have a similar view as them. But a little issue with that is, when Uranus is very strong in the fucking chart, man, these motherfuckers are ahead of their time. So there ain't a lot of motherfuckers that, think like them. So the concept of a like-minded individual is like almost a pure fantasy right there, man, to be honest. And I just think that, that like-minded shit, that's overrated personally myself anyway. I think that. And, I just feel like either way, when I'm looking at Uranus in the 7th house in the chart, romantic relationships or close relationships, with these motherfuckers, they often feel like being misunderstood, man. And social norms kind of just feel suffocating to them. And that's just kind of what it is. And with the more challenging aspects, there could also be a tendency to, say fuck relationships altogether and just thug it out on their motherfucking own. They'll just say fuck that shit. These are those type of people. Like, man, I'm just not dealing with that. All the shit that I've been through, like, and it just doesn't make sense either. So there's with a lot of these harsh aspects, these are a lot of those people that are like, man, fuck relationships. You know what I'm saying? And another thing to keep in mind with this one is that being the opposite of the 1st house, man, a lot of times planets in the 7th, they represent as qualities that you don't kind of readily identify with inside of yourself, man. So you tend to project them onto others, which I kind of said that a few minutes ago. And, until you learn how to integrate them, you're going to only see them in the next motherfucker and the next motherfucker. In this case, you're going to be dealing with people in your relationships. A lot of times your marriage partner, your significant other is going to be the exact person that has those qualities that you're uncomfortable with in yourself, man. And, these Uranus in the 7th house people, they're attracted to other people who are intelligent, who are eccentric, but at the same time, emotionally unavailable. And who's going to nurture who, man? And, even though Uranus likes being around people, Uranus is actually quite an emotionalist planet. Real spit. And so likewise, man, relationships with them are going to be much more based on intellectual kinship than any deep emotional connection. Okay. And intimacy, that's probably going to be an issue if it isn't fucking non-existent altogether. And, they kind of avoid deep emotional bonds, man. With this placement of Uranus, they can really marry somebody divorced, I've seen, or, in their own marriage, if they feel like they're not, given enough any freedom or given enough space, man. And I'm going to tell you this, man. Either way, man, Uranus in the 7th house kind of indicates that they prefer a relationship that is in some way unconventional. Okay, maybe they're on some, polygamy type shit, you know what I'm saying? Or some polyamory type shit, man. Or even having an open marriage, you know what I'm saying? Some crazy freak shit. Maybe they don't live together, but they're still committed. You know what I'm saying? Maybe it's like a May-December romance, you know what I'm saying? Or some other, shit that ain't the societal norm. And who am I to judge? Because either way, just because you built like that, you don't have to build like that. You don't have to feed into the negativity. You don't have to let any of that shit fuck with you, okay? We all have all of this energy available to us in our chart. What you do with it is what you do with it. And even beyond that is not about what you do. It's about how you do it, okay? And as long as you can keep that in mind, you'll always be okay. Hey, I appreciate all the love and support, man. Hey, I'm asking y'all to please like, share, and subscribe if y'all fuck with me even in the slightest bit. If you're interested in any astrological readings whatsoever, you can either hit me up in the comments below, or you can email me at mr.turner1300@gmail.com. Okay. I appreciate everything, man. That's also if y'all interested in any merch too. Okay. But you can buy as much merch as you want. You will never, ever be this fly. Okay.